Skepta. In his new song, he says, "I want a blood clot," in it. Quite a lot. But obviously he's known for pushing the Afro beats and, you know, he's known for being African. What I wanted to know from you guys, is it acceptable for an African artist to speak with a Jamaican twang or speak Jamaican
why not?
slang?
I personally think it's acceptable for Skepta to speak in any fucking language he feels like.
I don't see a reason to question that. It's a culture that he understands and loves and is a part of, so therefore that's reflected in his music. I don't see the big deal.
How about if a white dude started, let's say, speaking African for a song, but when he came off the track, he started talking English?
Yeah, but you know,
would that be acceptable?
No, but you know, from day one, and we all remember it from school days, not like trying to be bossy, everyone went to be Jamaican. So Wagwan was used quite frequently, Wicked and Bomba Club, all them things there. So realistically, he's not saying anything he probably wouldn't say out on the street anyway. Go ahead, big man, do what you want, man. Barbershop, use Jamaican slang. When you get in a patty, use Jamaican slang. Why not, man? Use it day to day. Everyone says Wagwan, you know, and don't let no one fool you. Just because he said Bomba Club, everyone wants to start going mad.
First of all, that's making an assumption.
I can tell you, that's the deal. So,
if there was a white dude that's not African, but he adopted Yoruba for a song, which is Nigerian dialect, let's say he decided to rap in that dialect.
Yeah, but if he's not been around it his whole year, his whole life, I'll be like, where's that come from?
Let me say, Skepta's whole life could have jammed with nothing but Africans, but
he hasn't, you know that, he hasn't. He hasn't. Bossy's Jamaican.
I actually couldn't believe it when I saw fans of Skepta and people actually commenting on the fact that he said, "I want a blood clot" in his song. So what? Who cares?
If he hangs on with Bossy's Jamaican for one. Big H, them man are all Jamaican.
A lot of people started taking into the race thing and the culture, like, are you from this country, is Skepta from that country? The debate went off course.
If you've got a white guy that lived in Africa, completely absorbed himself into the Afro beat.
We're not saying that Skepta's lived in fucking Caribbean, we're saying he lived in fucking Tottenham.
Yeah, but he lived in Tottenham.
This white guy I'm talking about, what I'm saying, this white guy I'm talking about could have lived in Brixton.
I actually agree with Poet that people recognise when it's authentic. No one questions the way K. Cole talks because it's very evident that he's authentic with what he does. If you had a middle class kid who came down from the counties and started talking like K. Cole, people would pull him up on it. I don't think anyone's going to question Skepta. He's from Tottenham. I'm sure that he grew up speaking like that, like a lot of people in London did.
And do you know what? You've got all this respect. I'm not trying to be. You've got asked that K. Cole, Pro Green, and also for that dude rap. The way their mannerisms, they probably do derive from some of the friends that they had that were black. I'm not going to go against them. That's
Look at Maverick Saber's Irish and sings in a Jamaican accent because he does reggae. I used the example of Maverick Saber before. Maverick Saber's Irish, I believe, and when he sings with a Jamaican accent. He does reggae music.
There's also Maverick Saber, who obviously he speaks in a Jamaican accent. I like all that stuff. It's different. I don't even think that Skepta thing actually compares to that.
It's like, look at the German artist Gentleman.
I'm cool
and sings in a straight yard accent, but when he comes off, I understand that. But you can see that he's a part of that.
I'm cool with that. I was trying to gauge how people go about having double standards, because in my head I'm like, it's cool to accept Skepta because he's black and he's fucking talking another black language, but I was wondering, like, how does it flip if the person is not black but they're talking a language that's from a black culture? I'm just trying to gauge people's minds and where their thoughts derive from, you know?
I don't think that there is a double standard because K. Cole, he has a certain type of tone. If you painted his skin black and everybody just assumed he was black, it would be fine. He's a white dude, he does what he does and everybody's completely cool with it.
But there's no double standard.
There's no why they're cool with it? Because that's him, though.
Because he's official.
Yeah, that's who he is.
If it was a white dude,
everybody knows. Everybody knows.
Like that. And that's obviously, Maverick Saber doesn't talk like that when he's not singing. Gentleman from Germany doesn't talk like that. I think there's a grey area of where it becomes acceptable, and I think particularly we've got a massive kind of chip on our shoulder about the whole American thing.
Skepta's certified. Everybody knows where Skepta comes from, the people that he hangs around.
You have to know someone's background history before you give them a blight about using a certain...
You do, because they teach you.
How the fuck can you work that out? I don't know Skepta personally. I don't think any of these know Skepta personally, but they're happy to assume that they do. Shoot me in the fucking head, please.
I wasn't exactly sure what T's point was. I think he was playing devil's advocate a little bit.
What happens is then you start to become a caricature of what you think you're imitating. You become a joke, and the thing is, people sense it. They'll know it instantly.
Yeah. If somebody was taking a piss out of the culture, you'd be able to identify that person a lot quicker. Skepta's not doing that, so Skepta can say what the fuck he wants to say.
And also, well, you're going to be offending a whole lot of people if you're doing this. Like, don't take my culture.
You can do it without even knowing.
No, but like,
let me pose a question.
Let me finish. Don't take my culture and take the piss out of it if you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Not to Skepta, I'm just saying to any artist out there that wants to try and hijack.
I'm trying to be good and not talk over everyone. I'm ready to do it.
One second. I agree with Skepta using it. I feel like if Skepta is around all of that and he's grown up with all of that, as Poet says, growing up, Nigerian kids, Ghanaian kids, they did it all the time. It's nothing. I feel like if somebody wasn't around that and they're trying to imitate something that they've seen off TV, then I know that you're taking the piss. So don't do it.
Let me pose one question.
And then you want to make money out of it? No, don't.
It's alright, yeah?
When somebody mimics it, you kind of get the feeling that maybe they're kind of don't really know the full culture or have even a basic understanding of it. You can see they're just trying to take the piss, essentially.
However, now, yeah, if an English person who's grown up on hip hop, loves hip hop and American culture, yeah,
Wait, you talking about
and then uses certain words in American slang or whatever, we rip the living piss out of them.
But you know
My
what?
point right there.
But you know what?
My motherfucking point right there.
The reason I use the American accent thing as a devil's advocate, I personally don't like to hear rappers from England rapping an American accent, but I do think it's very funny that it can be accepted that you can sing or rap in a certain accent if you're in love with a certain culture, reggae for example, but if it's hip hop, which is an American art form, obviously people get sometimes a little bit too bent out of shape when an English artist might use American slang.
Thank you.
Let me tell you something, because you lot are now being dumb.
I know the difference.
Let me tell you the difference, cuz. Real talk, fam. When you step out of your yard, where the hell are you, cuz? Because you're listening to music, but music doesn't become who you are 24/7, fam. I'm talking about socially it's happening. It can happen when you go to your school, in your yard, in a road, in a kebab shop, anywhere, fam. You're not gonna hear American accents everywhere you go, unless you're in America. So how the hell you derive this whole American accent? Only God knows. So to me, that's just not real. That's you being fake. And if you want to be fake, you know what? Just don't be around me. I'm not really gonna appreciate it. When you're just listening to music, anyhow you become American.
But you said it was alright for gentlemen. You said it was alright for gentlemen.
Come in here.
Hold on.
If you're here, if you come in here and said Wagwan, do you know I wouldn't think anything of it? Now, if you come in here, okay, I'll be like, this guy taking a mic, fam.
Wait, hold on.
It doesn't seem real.
But you just said, gentleman, the German reggae artist who sings like that is alright. He's from Germany. Ain't nobody around him talking about Wagwan.
See the artist that does it, yeah? Like, I feel like he embraces the culture. Like my dad.
This is my point. You don't think there's English people who embrace hip hop culture like that?
So with Snip's point saying about how if you're from around a culture and you've been influenced by it enough, you should be allowed to speak it. Where's the point of where it's like, yeah, you're in the culture enough to be able to speak it? I don't get that shit, and there's no measurable point anyway. So for me, it's just based on a hunch, or it's based on whether you can deal with that person talking in that certain way for you. There's too many double standards in this shit.
The whole American accent thing, what Poet was saying is right. You don't talk like that when you come out of the booth, so there's no reason to talk like that in the booth.
But see, like, you can't, like, I feel like you can be Jamaican, but I can't really be American.
See, with the gentleman argument, this is all hypothetical because we don't know how much time he spends in Jamaica.
That's my point.
What it's like around his friends, because you never know. He might be around these people, and that might be how they talk. Yeah, Wagwan, everything blessed. Boom. See, with Skepta, it's exactly the same thing, innit?
I've been to Jamaica. My patch was good. I can go to Jamaica and speak to them, and they will understand exactly what I'm talking about. But what they will always recognise is that I wasn't born there, and I'm not from there.
When he's out of the music booth or whatever, and he's around his brethren, words like blood clot, Wagwan, everything, Chris, that's normal to him. So if he goes back in the booth and he does that, that's cool. I think when you go and start spitting an American accent, that's completely different, because that's not what your brethren and everybody is.
The Jamaican influence has been really big, especially considering that we've been here for so long. So with the whole street slang and whatever, where Skepta's come from, it doesn't surprise me if, you know, he's been on an estate and it's normal language for him to say Wagwan, everything cool, boom, 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 whatever it may be. That's where he's come from. We know that when he says it in a record, it's certified, it's minor.
We've been exposed to a lot of American culture.
Probably more than gentlemen has been exposed to
Jamaican culture. So for us to kind of do that is not so weird.
But you never know, though.
That's not so weird. That's like saying to any... Wait, can I just... Sorry, that's like saying to any UK R&B singer, don't sing in an American accent, when nearly all of them do.
Don't get me wrong, I don't like hearing people rapping in American accent.
My family's from Germany and they love
reggae. No, they love reggae, but socially, there's not a Jamaican influence in the culture.
But if he goes out of his way to find it, fair enough. But I have never been to any ground like in England.
Going back to the actual track, do you actually think he thought that track through? I actually got the impression he was joking about it in the studio, and he wrote bars to it, and it did something quite visual. I don't think like he talked too much about it.
I don't even think that he said it in a serious way. He's just said it as a jokey thing, whatever. Skepta can say that.
I think he literally just went in the booth, said it, caught a little vibe, and just said it and kept it moving. I think people are just blowing it out of proportion because nothing's really going on, so they want something to talk about. They're potentially very bored. They ain't doing nothing. I think we should just all drink and just be happy.
Yeah. I say to any one of yous in here, man, Wagwan, what you saying? It's part of the British street culture and talking. Like part of it is that.
There you go. No, but I'm not.
We've been exposed to Jamaican culture.
Exactly.
No, that's ridiculous. How do you know I have though? This is what I'm saying.
You're here, you live
but
in the
that's
UK.
not enough. They're assuming that I've been hanging around with yardies my whole fucking life, man. So when I say Wagwan to someone, like they're assuming that I've lived that shit. And if you're basing someone's background on appearance, again, African. I could have been here and chilled with nothing but African. What I'm saying, but I'm just all I'm saying to you, all I'm saying to you though, you've already made the assumptions without knowing. That's my point. You've made the assumption without knowing though.
I don't feel like I'm God or anything, but I can feel when someone's trying to take me for a dickhead. You have to be realistic to where we live, and you got to look at it and be like, what are you going to be exposed to in this country? Not just from music, but in school, at work, going to the corner shop, and whatever you're going to be exposed to predominantly is probably going to shape how you communicate with people. So everywhere you go, if you constantly hear wagwan, you're probably going to adopt that to your lingo. You're going to start saying wagwan.
Do you think you're always right?
No, not at all.
Then you go then. Then you're going to get it wrong, unless you know.
Yeah, we're all going to get things wrong in life, but I'm not going to go around judging every single individual.
But that's basically what you're doing though, because you're saying it's acceptable for Skepta to do it.
He is a black artist saying I want a blood clot in his song. He is a good artist. People recognize him for his music. Does it matter?
Imagine it's subconscious. You know, subconsciously, like if it doesn't affect me, but if I'm like, wait, what are you doing, brother? Then I'm thinking to myself, right, that's not real, cuz.
If you can't feel that that person actually fully understands the culture, it can really grate on a person to hear that from someone. If you hear a white person trying to mimic a patois accent and not really understand the cultural background behind all of that, it can be really, really annoying. Sorry to say this, white folks, but especially if it comes from you just have to deal with that, I'm afraid, because that's just how it is.
If you look at what London street slang derives from, Jamaican immigrants, it's no disrespect to African immigrants, but have been here for longer. But there was a bigger Jamaican community than there was an African community from the 60s and 70s. So there's more influence within urban street slang from Jamaican culture than there is from African culture. So if you really look at what street slang is, it's derived from Cockney and Jamaican. So that is how people who grew up in certain areas of London speak, regardless of your heritage. There's certain areas you go to, you'll see just white kids that aren't really parring with black people, but that come from certain areas and will talk like that.
I've got so many Nigerian friends, so many Ghanaian friends, and they're always flinging out patois, and it doesn't throw me at all. When I heard the record, I wasn't surprised at all, but from when you can have Jessie J saying mandem, and nobody questions it, everybody's like, yeah, it's amazing. And then the minute Skepta does it, everybody's like, what is he doing? He's Nigerian, he shouldn't be doing that. I'm like, come on now.
Skepta is entitled to do a track like that. You can talk in a Jamaican accent, African accent, Polish, I don't really care. Music's music at the end of the day, especially in 2012.
Someone else had it on the computer. They were like, oh my god, look at that. Dappy seems like the kind of guy to me that's not a thing to him, you know. Like, oh shit, I got my dick out, so what? I ain't gonna have to hide. You know what I'm saying? A lot of dudes that
saying about black artists is, why is it just Pro Green who gets that one hip hop slot?
How do they judge it? They judge it over the course of a year.
But this is what I'm saying. What made them go with Pro Green over Tiny? Urban music makes up more than 50% of the chart.